Of course Cher wanted him on tour to be like a little toy boy or something. That's not even like the craziest part. Anyway, this is a funny story I have about Cher, and I want to tell it because I think it's just so iconic. I think it was the late 90s, early 2000s. My producer was in his early 20s, I think, and he is fucking incredible guitarist, and so he got asked to record guitar for Cher's album. He said that they recorded out at Cher's house in LA, but he said it was like overlooking the ocean, and it was basically like a mansion, as you can imagine. For the first like 2 days or something he was there, he didn't see her. All he knew was that the room they were recording in was below her bedroom, and knew that she could probably hear things because they'd be recording into the night. Anyway, he said, he's like, I shit you not, on like the third day or something like that, Cher's assistant comes into the room and starts rolling out like this mini like red carpet, and JJ's just like looking around at the other people in the room like, what is going on? And then he said once they'd rolled out the carpet, in walks Cher. She walks down this little mini red carpet that her assistant just laid down in the studio, in her home studio. And he said she just like comes in, walks down the carpet and just like sits down and doesn't really say much. And then someone in her team introduced, like, was like, okay, so like, yeah, this is JJ, he's playing guitar, blah, blah, blah. And she was very polite and she was very nice. She just kind of went like, oh yeah, thanks, cool, kind of thing, like, nice to meet you. So it wasn't rude, but definitely wasn't like overly whatever. But he was like, whatever, like, she was nice enough. And then he's like, but wait, there's more. Like, you know how Cher's always like, she's always gone for younger guys. I don't know how old she was back in the late 90s, early 2000s, but she used to date actors like Rob Camilletti and shit like that. Is that how you say his name? I don't even know. But anyway, looking back at people Cher's dated, my producer's kind of her type, right? And he said, like, I don't know if it was like the next day or like a few hours later after meeting Cher, someone from his team came in and was like, look, like, Cher's like really impressed with you and like what you've done, like you and your guitar work. But he said there was like a big emphasis on you. She's really impressed with you, because she barely spoke to him, like she barely heard anything, like, you know what I mean? But she's asked if you'd be interested. She's about to go on tour. Like, she's asked if you'd be interested to go on tour with her. And he said the way it was worded, it was definitely kind of like, she's interested in you kind of thing. And, you know, Cher had that reputation and whatever. JJ also said he'd just got married not long before this gig. So he said no, of course, like he wasn't interested, especially because it had like a vibe. She's interested in you more than like, oh my God, she's so impressed with your guitar playing. She just wants you, like. So I looked up, I'll have to find photos. I looked up what my producer looked like back, because he was in bands and stuff back then, what he looked like. And it just made me laugh. And also, he also said when we were talking about Cher, because Cher used to go out with Gene Simmons, which is crazy to think about. But anyway, and he was telling the story how one day he was in a bar in LA and Gene Simmons was there. I don't know if the rest of Kiss was there, but Gene Simmons was. And he was next to him at the bar. Like, Gene Simmons came up to like get a drink or whatever. He said it was just a really small bar. And they struck up conversation, and Gene Simmons was like, oh, so like, why are you here? He's like, oh, I'm here with my band. And JJ pointed out the other band members, and he said Gene Simmons kind of looked at the other band members and then looked at JJ, and he was like, and what do you do in the band? Are you the lead singer? And JJ said, oh no, I'm the guitarist and I do maybe like a few background vocals. And Gene Simmons like looked at the other members of the band and then looked at JJ and then was like, you should be the frontman. And then like just walked away. I guess back in the day, my producer was very good looking or something. Realised what a small world the music industry is, especially when you're in LA, because everyone in LA has stories like that. Like, who was it? He was like, we were talking about movie scores and shit, and someone brought up Hans Zimmer, and then JJ just like randomly drops, it's like, oh yeah, I've been in his studio. everyone just kind of stops and they're like, what? You've been in Hans Zimmer's studio? He's like, oh yeah. He has like wall-to-wall speakers. Walls that are just speakers in his studio. And was like telling us all this stuff. We were just like, what? I just wanted to tell the Cher story.